Let's talk about the market in Phoenix, my friend. What's going on out there? What are you doing to navigate this crazy market we're in?
I'm very bullish on our market right now. If I'm very bullish for first-time home buyers, anybody who wants to invest in our market out here, I'm very bullish, myself included. I just bought my third investment home on April 29th. We just closed. Actually a vacation home for me and my family on top of being an Airbnb. Very bullish. The amount of, yes, we are kind of ticking up on inventory, but the amount of people that are moving into this city, the amount of money that's moving into this city, I would almost kind of like, what I'd say a lot to a lot of clients is, we're going to look like LA here in 10 years with the amount of people that are coming in here, the amount of infrastructure, the amount of tech business, the amount of growth that we're having out here.
Welcome to the Jeff Sutherlin Show. Let's grow today as we learn from decades of real estate and leadership experience.
We want you to know that when you log into this show, you're going to get authentic conversation. We're going to give it to you straight, and it's going to be real.
Hey everybody, Jeff Sutherlin here on the Jeff Sutherlin Show. Today I have a guest, Clark Hoppel. This guy is just another winner. I promised you guys I'd bring on winners. Clark is just another amazing human being. I can't wait to tell you about him. A few things about the market in Phoenix. Supply actually keeps getting chipped away, right? We're slowly coming back to recovery. Right now, as I've been telling you guys, good agents are getting buyers in at great terms. Right? I've been getting buyers in at new homes at 3.75, 3.99 fixed, getting sellers to pay down points for buyers. It is now becoming a very attractive time. Over my 25 years, the last quarter can be some of the best times to buy homes. So welcome to the program today as I am hanging out with Clark Hoppel. This guy is an amazing person, and I've been working with him since 2018. And Clark has been married for, about 8 years at this point. He's got a 6-year-old girl, a 5-year-old boy. He's just an amazing person. He went to college wanting to play football, and he wanted to be a veterinarian, and he came out playing golf. And he had 2 business degrees. He's also in the PGA, so he's a pro golfer, and he's been in that for 8 years. He's got one heck of a good golf stroke. It just blows my mind. I wanted to let you know what a good leader he is in this industry. Today, we're bringing on another world-class real estate agent. He was licensed in 2014. He did nothing with that license for 2 years, actually lost his license because he let it expire. That was smart, Clark. That was smart.
Yeah.
And then he had to do it all over again in 2016. So he got relicensed. Then he jumped on a team. That's how he kind of cut his teeth on the industry. And he's been in EXP Realty along with myself, came in 2019. 19 till now, the man has sold upwards of 250 homes, which is incredible. Stuff that's on the multiple listing service, off-market homes, new homes. Clark is just a high producer. In fact, he's done about 77 million in volume since he's been with EXP, which is exceptional. He actually has won the coveted Icon Award twice. That's for somebody that does approximately 30 transactions a year in 2021 and 22. Top 1% agent every year since 2020, and he is a luxury agent. So that is quite a rap sheet. Clark, brother, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Quite the introduction, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me out here today. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the market in Phoenix, my friend. What's going on out there? What are you doing to navigate this crazy market we're in?
I'm very bullish on our market right now. If I'm very bullish for first-time home buyers, anybody who wants to invest in our market out here, I'm very bullish, myself included. I just bought my third investment home on April 29th. We just closed. Actually a vacation home for me and my family on top of being an Airbnb. Very bullish. The amount of, yes, we are kind of ticking up on inventory, but the amount of people that are moving into this city, the amount of money that's moving into this city, I would almost kind of like, what I'd say a lot to a lot of clients is, we're going to look like LA here in 10 years with the amount of people that are coming in here, the amount of infrastructure, the amount of tech business, the amount of growth that we're having out here. Very little geographical constraints across the entire valley. We might outdo Tallahassee as one of the largest land mass cities in the entire country here soon. Population wise, what are we doing? What, third, fourth, fifth, something around those lines. The growth out here is just going to continue to grow up. I actually think it's going to kind of look more like a hockey stick here in the next 10 years. So very bullish. If you have the opportunity to get into this market, I think the opportunity for return is huge in the coming year. So very strong with it. I'm reaching out to all my clients, anybody's obviously first time home buyers, anybody who's looking for anything to buy in this county. There's two counties obviously that make up Maricopa and Pinal County. Very bullish on both sides.
And you can see, Clark, you speak confidently with data, and that's what consumers want, right? They just don't want feelings. They want information. They want data. Everybody's got an opinion, but it's nice when you come forth with data. And then the labor has been fantastic in Phoenix for a long time. And $185 billion expansion with TSMC in the Northwest Valley. Mayo Clinic, almost $2 billion expansion. Years ago, Phoenix used to be just a housing town. All the money was in housing, and building. And now it's so diverse, isn't it? We've got biotech. We've got, of course, we have housing, a lot of medical tech, all kinds of IT stuff. I mean, tell us about that. What your thoughts on just the diversity.
Look what's going on. Look what's going on in the far West Valley off the 303 and all that commercial space that's being built. The Long Beach Harbor. It is actually cheaper for these big old freight liners coming across the Pacific Ocean. And now instead of buying up more commercial space in the Long Beach Harbor and in that like Temecula area, I think is where it's at, to ship that stuff out here, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of square foot of commercial space that they are now using. Amazon's a hub out there. There's so much expansion on the west side of town. That's going to continue to grow out here. So the expansion that's going to go on the other side of the white tanks, the smart city for Bill Gates, there's just so much opportunity for further growth. Buckeye, of all towns, would you have ever imagined for the last 3 years to be the fastest growing city in Phoenix area? Just the expansion that there's $5.5 billion worth of tech industry expansion up on the north side of town. Growth. That's why I'm very bullish with it. It's not just a feeling. I'm looking at the facts, like you mentioned before. I'm looking at the actual data, where things are going, where things are headed.
And that's why I love the way you do business, Clark. You understand what's happening. You share real numbers. How do you keep up with it all, Clark? Like, where do you go to get your information to help clients?
Well, number one is Cromford, obviously. That's probably the best place to go. That is the statistical data that you need to be able to represent and be able to speak, have an educational side of your speaking points. And I just pay attention, man. I just pay attention. I'm looking around what's going on. I mean, this is the city that we work in, we operate in. I've lived here for 30 plus years, seeing the growth that's going on. It's my job to pay attention. So why would I not open my eyes and pay attention to what's going on out here?
Yep, that's absolutely correct. So, in the last couple of years, it's been rough for most agents. And I want to know, how have you transversed all the different markets since you've had your license? You're a top producer. How you been doing the last 2 years? And what are you doing that's different to prepare yourself as the market slowly recovers? Just tell us a little bit about that narrative.
Nothing's changed with how I've operated, to be perfectly honest. I still approach every day. I still approach every situation exactly the same. I come with the golden rule: treat people how you want to be treated. Transparency, integrity, honesty, build trust, build relationships. People know, and I hope this is the case. I kind of feel like this is the case, that people know that I'm acting in their best interests. I don't believe in commission breath. I think the more you operate in someone else's best interest, the longer a relationship you're going to build with a client. And that's truthfully how I've operated the entire time you and I have known each other. I think you could probably attest to that I'm always coming with their best interest. And if you're always looking out for someone's best interest, it's no different than any other attorney. You're going to hire an attorney for looking out for your best interest. And it's the same thing how I look at our approach to this industry, is looking out for their best interest. So that's just how I've gone about it. And I just truthfully take care of my people. I take care of my clients. I take care of what they're after, learn what their pain points are, learn what their interests are, and then try to focus the approach according to that.
Yeah, it's called being a fiduciary agent, right? And in this industry, I would like to be able to say most people operate from that point of view. Obedience, proper disclosure, confidentiality, all those things really, really matter, right? I mean, you're demonstrating them to your clients.
They know they're getting the truth from me every single time. I'm never going to lie to them. I'm never coming at it from my own personal perspective, my own personal gain. It's all about them. And I truly believe that. I truly operate with that sort of integrity, that if I operate in your best interest, you know that you can always come back to me for any question down the road. It's not always about me. It's about them. If I help you accomplish your goals, who are you going to come back to the next time you're ready to go try to accomplish the next goal and take the next step?
Right. So I think you're in your 30s, if I'm not mistaken.
40 this year, my man. 40
Okay,
this year.
okay, you're 40. Okay, wow. Welcome to 40. So how are you balancing everything, Clark? You got a lot of irons in the fire. You got kids. They're doing a lot of different things, I'm sure. And how are you keeping your sanity through all of it?
What choice do you got? You live in the world you create, right? And I'm very happy and very proud of the world that I've created. I'm enjoying every minute of it, whether it's stressful or whether it's peaceful. Last week, I got to spend, my wife was out of town on a girls trip. I got to spend time with my kids for 3 days. There's my peaceful time and then back to work. It's just part of the journey of life, really. You live in the world you create, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, you didn't get to the place you were by accident, right? Success leaves clues. So tell us about that a little bit. Like, did you have any struggles along the way? Did you ever have any self-doubt? What were some of those moments where you're like, man, this is really getting hard? And, what kind of helped push you through those times?
I mean, I think in this industry is one of those industries that I think you wake up every day with self-doubt and self-struggle and a struggle of trying to motivate yourself. And I think self-motivation, is probably the number one thing you have to have in this industry. You have to wake up and be ready to grind, and you have to be ready to, you have to have your own self-motivation. You have to motivate yourself to get moving on a day-to-day basis and do the right things. I have learned over the years on how to direct myself, on how to put notes or how to think of things to push myself in those directions. So I've gotten better at that process, without a doubt, but the struggles are every day. We don't wake up with a guaranteed paycheck. We don't wake up with a guaranteed escrow, with a guaranteed prospect. We have to go out and earn it every single day. And I think that is the motivation that you have to have in this industry.
Without a doubt. I mean, I think it's almost a formula. Like in my mind, it's having a big why that's really important to me. It's surrounding myself with great people around me, constantly trying to push myself and get uncomfortable. Grit, morning rhythms, all of that factors in, right? And it's like all those things that it kind of overcomes the negativity, or it overcomes the self-doubt. Do you do anything in terms of personal development to take you to the next level?
I think one of my, the big why, the big morning motivation is waking up every day and taking care of my kids in the morning. There's nothing more that I could ever ask for a motivating factor to go out to kind of crush the day. Waking up and taking care of the kids, getting ready to go to school. I spend 2 hours every morning taking care of my kids and getting ready to go to school for the day. If there's nothing more that motivates me than just that 2-hour period. Everything else beyond that is all the things that I do for myself, whether it's working out, golfing. Golfing is a good way for me to get away. That's my self-meditation, if you will. But that is my big why. That's my big motivation every single morning. So I don't even have to ask for it. It wakes up every single morning and motivates me every morning.
I love it. So now you transact business all over the Phoenix Valley. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm actually part of the association in Flagstaff, the White Mountain area, Sedona, all over. I've been down in Sierra Vista, Tucson, Pinson. I like challenge. I like to explore. I like going across the entire state. But yeah, I mainly focus in Phoenix. I live in Phoenix. I now have a place, or the place I just bought in Pine Top, now a White Mountain member. But yeah, all over the valley, all over the state, for, in all honesty.
Well, and on top of that, I've seen you do deals, Clark, and your deals, many of them are not simple deals. They're somewhat complex. So, I mean, can you tell us some of the stuff you've run into over the years about the complexity of your transactions and, what you've done to simply get through that?
I like challenge, man. I really, really embrace and enjoy challenge. I like learning. Complacency is kind of the devil to me. I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I feel like I'm very confident in what I do, but I also love to explore new markets, new challenges, such as learning 30 feet off the house line for a tree line to protect the house from fire up in the White Mountain area. Just little things that you learn along the way. I'm not afraid to ask questions. I'm not afraid to be the dumbest man in the room. I want to be in a room full of smart people and ask questions. I think that only furthers my journey and only furthers my knowledge and helps me better serve my clients in the future.
Absolutely. Now, you're also a luxury agent, correct? So you got that designation with EXP, and is that helping your business? And how does it help a client? How does it help your clients buy and sell homes?
Well, the marketing aspect, especially with being a part of EXP on the luxury side of EXP, it certainly helps. It certainly helps, without a doubt. The luxury designation, I think, will probably hear change here in the coming years as the price point kind of increases. However, I've been at, I think, since 21 or 22, I believe, that I've been a part of it. But it just levels up the marketing. And the beauty of being a luxury in that designation is it allows me to filter down, whether it's a $250,000 home, the same marketing comes along with that luxury marketing side. So it helps all of my clients across the board. Everyone benefits from it.
Well, yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I mean, just the marketing alone. I think that they last time I checked, they actually market to like nine of the biggest outlets, like Barron's and things like that, internationally. The outreach of those listings is phenomenal with EXP Luxury.
The last listing I had, it was 1.777777. We tried to run the casino number. We reached within 2 months. We had an outreach of 63.8 million people we had reached out to because I was part of that luxury designation, that marketing angle. 63.8 million people in 2 months.
That's insane. I've never heard anything like that before, Clark. That's incredible. So, okay. So obviously that designation is working for you. So you can go in front of a seller and literally tell them, this is the kind of traffic I got on my last house. That's quite a compelling reason to do business with you.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, you will not find another agent that can market to more people. If there is a buyer out there, I will find them. I guarantee. I have so much confidence in that. I know I will find that buyer if that buyer is out there.
That's huge. That's a huge statement. And so in addition to your luxury designation, why else do you say that?
I'm sorry, one more time. You broke up right in that.
Yeah, no, that's a great statement you just said. Besides the luxury designation, why else would you say that you're going to be that there's no one that can touch buyers like you?
No one's going to have the self-interest and your best interest as I'm going to have. Not only am I going to be able to market to 63.8 million people within the first 2 months, but everybody, it's not only that I'm not just putting it on the market and being a luxury agent, luxury designation that's getting that outreach. I'm specifically skip tracing. I'm specifically making phone calls. I'm specifically sending mailers. I'm specifically doing certain outreach things depending on each and every listing, depending on what it is, where it is, what it attracts, whether it's an Airbnb, a primary residence, a family home, an investment home, dependent on the actual listing itself. I'm doing specific things that cater or tailor directly to that type of listing to try to find that buyer as well. So it's not only the marketing side of it that comes along with my designations, it's also my individual outreach that goes along with that marketing that is specifically targeting certain buyers that match the criteria of the type of buyer that we're looking for.
Yeah, love it. I appreciate you unpacking that a little bit. Let's shift gears for a second. I want to talk about your icon designation. This is the most prestigious award at EXP. You've won it twice. Tell us about what you got to do to get that award. What are some of the things you have to do to give back to the EXP culture? And then also from a wealth building standpoint, share why so many people are coming over to EXP, why you continue to stay with EXP, because that's just one of the many benefits. Can you just kind of unpack that, what that means to your career?
So joining EXP has probably been the most powerful thing I've ever done within my career. Of the 203 homes I sold, 180 of them were with EXP. Just the marketing tools, everything that comes along with it. I have capped every single year, which means I'm receiving free stock. The stock is the biggest part of why I love EXP the most, because you're actually an owner within the company. 2021 was a big year. I was able to icon. 2022 was a big year. I was able to icon. I got all that stock money back, and I was able to help use that and facilitate that to help grow my business, where now I'm 100% agent. There was 3 or 4 questions that were packed into that whole one. Remind me of the second half.
So talk a little bit about how much stock you get back, what that means to you, in terms of your wealth building, and do you have to give anything back to the company? Like, do you have to train? Do you have to go to anything? What's the give back to the culture?
What's interesting about EXP? What I've noticed the biggest thing I've noticed about EXP is everyone is so interested and willing to help that people want to give back. People are willing to answer questions. People are willing and wanting to kind of help share their special sauce, if you will. That no one's closed-minded. No one's closed off. It's not. I remember when I first started in this business, the first couple of brokerages I was at, we walk through and you kind of be like, it was always closed doors. It was no one was willing to help. It was always like, who's this guy walking through the office? Who's this competition? No one feels like competition within EXP. Everyone feels like we're all here for the same goal, to help serve the same people. There's enough business to go around. We're all here to help each other grow. And that's probably the number one thing I love most about this place. I've never had an issue running into any EXP agent that wasn't willing to help or help me grow personally. And I've had that same approach too, where people have come to me asking me questions and asking me for growth tools, whatever it is. And I've never been so happy to help people out. It's almost like a team as opposed to your individual agent, which is very abnormal in this business.
Well, yeah, very abnormal. I mean, I've been to brokerages where people are hanging out over the copy machine and they don't want people to even see what they're doing. It's like a big secret. I mean, I think there's a couple things. When Glenn started the company in 2009, people forget, like, we've been around since '09. But he has always been consistent with his message. He wants to be the most consumer or the most agent-friendly brokerage on the planet. And we do things that are very in line with that, like our NPS score. Whenever we go into the broker or whenever we get paid, we're constantly being surveyed. So their number one customer is the agent. The other thing is they believe in the entrepreneur. They believe your brand, Clark, my brand, Jeff, our brand is more important than the company brand. They know that to be the case, and they're good with that, and they give you a platform to succeed. And that's the beauty of it. We're all owners in the company, and when you're all owners of the company, you think differently. I see the guy that's in Seattle, that's with EXP, and I know he's a fellow owner because right now, almost 70% of the agents in the company own stock in the company. So it's just it's a completely different environment when you know everybody's pulling on the same rope together. Wouldn't you agree with that?
100%. I mean, I told you this when I first came over, that the stock side of it was probably my most attractive side to me, and for me, and to know that everyone that's in this company that's part of this brokerage also you almost have to be interested in the stock side of the company and the opportunity that comes along with that side, because we're all owners. And the more we all succeed, the more we all help each other succeed, the more we all succeed together, which is, I would imagine be one of the biggest reasons why EXP has been so successful and why they are so agent-centered, trying to help everyone succeed together.
You know, I had a top agent on the phone with the CFO last week, and we were going over the EXP balance sheet. And these are things that people just don't know, but EXP has no debt. Zero debt and a war chest of cash. And so, you know, we're in this position now where I've always said, like in the last 2 years, especially in Phoenix, it's been challenging, right? But our company's not going backwards. We've maintained, and not just maintained, but we keep adding value. We keep adding divisions, land and ranch, commercial. We keep on adding all these things into our whole portfolio. So when the market does finally turn around, and it will at some point, it always does, I believe we're going to take off like crazy. I've been buying stock since day one. I'm very, very bullish on the stock and very excited about where I think it's going to go. It's just we're on one of those patches. We got to get through it. And the company's managed so well. And I love the way Leo leads the company. He's all about putting the entrepreneur first and giving them everything they possibly can to win, because he knows that's the most important thing. He has to give value to the agents.
Couldn't agree with you more, man. The fact that their yearly budget is completely transparent. It's completely public. 92% of all funds that came in go right back into the company, and we're debt free.
Yeah.
Tell me you're a strong company without telling me you're a strong company.
That's right. And in fact, you know, our model is an 80-20 split. But what I explain to people is we're actually an 80-10-10, because that 20% that goes to the company before you cap, half of that 20% is split. So the company runs on a 10% expense from the they run on a 10% company dollar contribution from the agent, and they give the other 10% back to the agents in the form of revenue sharing, which is beyond comprehension, because they could not do that unless they ran a very fluid and very, very smart company, right? And we did that because we made the switch years and years and years ago to a cloud brokerage. We can just flat out run the company more efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's even at 80-20 or 92% or 80-10-10, however you want to look at it, the fact that we are debt free, growing internationally. How many countries are we in now? Do you know
Last
the number?
time I said, Clark, 7.
Exactly. So expansion, growth during a downtime, and debt free. Tell me you're part of a strong company without telling me you're part of a strong company.
That's right.
Trust me, I get phone calls all the time asking me to go to have a conversation with this broker, or that brokerage, that brokerage. I don't even entertain it. I have no interest. I have absolutely zero interest. There's nothing that's going to create generational or future wealth within my family better than BXP ever could. EXP is going to provide us with more opportunity than any brokerage could ever provide us.
Yeah. In fact, I often tell people we're kind of playing a different game than the rest of brokerages. We really are.
Yeah.
We're at a different level, playing a different game altogether. And so when you finally look under the hood and you really kick the tires, the more you look at it, the better it looks. Let me ask you this, Clark. Why would somebody want to affiliate with you? If you have an agent that's succeeding and they just want more, they want a better exit strategy, they want to have something at the end of the game, right? Because this industry, honestly, is somewhat broken. Very, very few companies offer anything that's not sales related. They just go sell a lot of homes. You don't own anything. But with EXP,
Correct.
we get a lot more than that. So what do you bring to the table that you could help an agent to take their game to a whole nother level?
Here's the beauty of EXP, and which is what ultimately brought me over, was you can do that old school model here without any problem. Every single brokerage gives you the opportunity to do the same old scale model, figure out a way to buy some doors, figure out a way to find your own retirement. There is no retirement. Figure out your own retirement. You can do that here, just like any other brokerage, but you're going to get more support than you ever will at any other brokerage that I've found so far personally. But it also opens up two different doors: your rev share, whether you want to bring people over to the company and have a rev share part of it. Or for me, it was the stock portfolio side of it that gives me some sort of exit strategy. There's two other forms of exit strategy. I can do the third, which is what everyone else does, every other brokerage offers. But the other two exit strategies that were there and presented to us that no other brokerage at the time presented. There's other copycat models out there. That's fine. That's fantastic. But they're not doing as successful. They're not debt free. They're not pumping 92% of the revenue back into the company. Those two models, or those two revenue streams as an exit strategy were the two reasons that brought me over. I have a hard time finding any sort of argument as to why EXP is not the brokerage that every single agent would not want to be a part of.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Clark. Very good points. Let me ask you a question. Is there anything today that I did not ask you that you wish I did ask you? Talk a little bit about, anything with what's going on in the business, your business, the market. What should I have asked you today?
That's a phenomenal question, man. I came into this thinking that you were going to ask all the questions. I'm curious as to what your thoughts are, because you've been in the business for as long as you have. You've been in this business for a long time. I mean that in a respectful way, my friend. What do you see in the next 2, 5, and 10 years? I would love to hear your perspective and your thoughts from the cycles that you've seen and what you've been through. Next 2, 5, and 10 years, what that looks like in your mind.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what I think. I think we're in the middle of another cleansing of the industry. I think you'll see a lot of people leave the industry again this year, just like we did last year. And the people that hang in there and actually don't go backwards too much, they watch their costs and they reinvest back into themselves, will end up winning big. They could be tripling their business when this market shifts. And by the way, it could just take one decision, one macro decision that could change everything. Because I've seen it before several times. It could be one decision from the Fed. It could be something that happens that turns everything around. And the people that are positioned well will reap the benefits, namely the people that are holding listings. Those people will reap tremendous benefits. Now, I think that if you don't spend the time sharpening your saw right now as an agent, you're going to get left behind. And I'm not saying you have to be an expert at AI, but you need to be able to use some of these tools, in my opinion, and you got to start getting used to it. I think all the old school ways of doing business still apply. Nurturing your database is still very important. But what's happening is the people that are coming up the ranks that have been growing up with all this technology, it comes second nature to them. They're going to pass up a lot of people that aren't willing to invest in themselves. I think 5 years from now, agents are going to look very, very different than they are today. Very different. So being that I'm 55, I've got at least 5 more years left in me. So I've been kind of reinventing myself, learning a lot of AI stuff, not just chat, but other stuff too, right? Really trying to take it to the next level. I mean, if you're just doing chat GPT right now, you're just scratching the surface. There's so much more out there, So I do think that we're at an inflection point in our industry, in our economy. I mean, look what happened with the NAR lawsuit. A lot of people thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be horrible. I've had more success now since the NAR lawsuit with doing buyer broker agreements than I ever have, because I've always used them and I know how to present them. So I just think it's a huge opportunity for those of us that want to invest in ourselves and get uncomfortable and grow.
I totally agree. That NAR lawsuit, as fearful as all of us were about how things were going to change within the industry, If you are willing to take on the challenge and pivot and figure it out, in my opinion, I completely agree with you. It has actually turned out to be one of the greatest things that ever happened because transparency reigns supreme. And now you get to have more transparent conversations with your clients. You'll know everything going into it. It's no more smoke and mirrors. There's no more half-ass agents, if you will. You cannot half-ass agency this business anymore. You have to be a full-blooded, all-in, transparent, and have integrity style agent anymore. And we've come through the weeds and we've gotten rid of the riffraff. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that in a negative way. I don't mean that in a crappy way. The better agents are going to reign supreme in this industry. And I think that's for the betterment of the general public and of the people.
Absolutely. If you're a client, by the way, we're talking to Clark Hoppel. He's out of Phoenix. He's a very good friend of mine. We've locked arms now for several years, like 7 years, working together hand in hand. If you want a strong full-time agent that's data-based and understands and listens to you, you need to talk to Clark. His success rate with clients is out the roof. I've seen the testimonies. I've seen the reviews of his work. It's fantastic. And then if you're an agent that really wants to take your game to the next level, I've always said, if you want to improve your business, you got to get in the right rooms with the right people, right? The power of association is critical in life. You cannot be hanging around people where the biggest thing they had in their life was when they were the prom queen 30 years ago, right? You need to hang out with people that are advancing their business. And Clark's that guy. So I just wanted to give him props for all the hard work over the years. And not just that, but he's winning at home too. And if you can't win at home and you're winning at work, you're not winning. You got to have both. I've seen too many people, especially my age, that their home's a mess. And what is that, right? I would love the fact that he's investing in his children. So I'm very proud of you for that. Clark, I'll give you the last word, brother. What else do you want to say before we say goodbye to our listeners today?
I really appreciate you as well, man. I want to throw that sentiment right back at you. I've known you for we're on 7 years or so, 7 or 8 years now. You were there before I even had kids. You have definitely been kind of a mentor. We call you the Godfather for a reason. So I just want to say thank you and appreciate you. It's been a very fun journey so far. I give you a lot of credit to where I am today. You've actually earned the opportunity to allow me to give you the respect that you deserve for where I am today. And I appreciate you, brother. I look at you as a father figure, as the Godfather that you have earned. And I enjoy working with you, and I look forward to many more years working with you.
Thanks, brother. About ready to cry over here. Thank you. Thank you, Clark. That means a lot. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Clark, how do people get a hold of you, my friend?
CH3 Realty on Instagram, Clark Hoppel. If you just look up Clark Hoppel, you'll find me. There's plenty of reviews out there. Google will direct you that way. 806789028. Always available. Text me first. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me, and then I'll give you a call, or we can jump on a phone call anytime.
And friends, do me a favor, subscribe to my podcast. I'm like almost at 800. My goal was 1,000. When I get to 1,000, it gets fun. Please share this, subscribe if you don't mind. I really appreciate it. And until then, thank you from me and Clark. We really appreciate you listening. I hope you got something out of it today. Take care.